Research in women and family business has moved into a very positive, accelerated trajectory since 2009. We did have a special issue of Family Business Review way back in 1990 on women and family business, and then there was this lull in research for many years. And in 2009, we had not only a review article in March issue of Family Business Review on this topic, we also had a composite book review of 3 books on this topic in December 2009 issue. So there's been a lot of energy into being put into this topic and lots of interest from around the world on women and family firms. For example, in the review article, Jimenez, the author, Rocio Jimenez, she reviews 48 articles on women and family firms, 23 books and 3 doctoral studies. So it's a pretty comprehensive literature in that area. And I don't see that trend going any slower. It's only going to accelerate over the next few years. Evolution of the role of women in family businesses, and that's the role of women in economic society as a whole. When we looked at this topic in 1990, the topic of invisibility was very visible, if I may say that way. And now the topic of invisibility is still there, but we talk in terms of strategic invisibility. So we're talking in terms of why do some women choose the invisibility as a strategic way or a strategic pathway. So that's one of the topics that would be of interest. I would very strongly recommend any women or men interested in the topic of women and family businesses to read not only the review article, because it's such a comprehensive review of what we know on this topic, but also look at the book reviews we've done in the December 2009 issue, because the 3 books on this topic are very, very different. They're written for different readers, and they're very, very powerful. For example, if I was working in a family business, the first book I would want to read is by Anio, Davidow, Harrison, and Davidow. It's called Women and Family Business, What Keeps You Up at Night. And that book is written from the perspective of women who are working in family businesses, whether it be as a daughter, as an owner, as a silent partner, as a front runner, as a manager, as a leader, and the questions that keep her up at night. And the authors have done a very powerful job of addressing it from each perspective. So they're really speaking to the women in family business. Now, if one were interested in research in family business, I would, or just a regular nice reading in family business, I'd go to the Mary Barrett and Ken Moore's book, which is coming out of Australia. And they use a stage as a metaphor for the pathways of leadership used by women. And that's a very, very powerful book to read, very interesting reading. And the third one is by Gupta and colleagues who have looked at all the research on women in family firms, and they separate it out by regions of the world. So what do we know about women in family firms in Europe, Asia Pacific, Latin America? So that gives a very different flavor of this whole topic of women in family businesses. I would expect a volume increase in this topic, because there is so many things that we've not touched on this topic. We're seeing, even if we think about families, we're seeing a sea change in the families, the structure of the families, and the role of women and men and children in the families. So there are a lot of questions yet unaddressed, and the review article by Jimenez in the March issue has a whole page of research questions that need to be addressed. So each of those research questions is at a minimum one doctoral dissertation, and I know of young scholars around the world who are really eager and embracing this topic. So if I were to predict the amount of research over the next 10 years, I would see a need for more books, for more journal articles, and they will show up. So there's just going to be a lot of more work and a lot of more understanding on this topic.